I, 24 male, have the suspicion that there could be something weird between my girlfriend, 27 female, and her father, 58 male, and it's driving me crazy. Update. First of all, thank you to everyone that genuinely gave me advice and different points of view yesterday. I spent most of the day driving and with her, so I didn't have time to reply to most comments, and there are lots of them. Many with questions. Sorry for not answering. It's early morning here while I'm starting to write this, and she's asleep right now, and I don't really know how much time I have to write, so I'll try to be as brief as possible, but I don't really know if it's possible. To summarize, it is what I suspected, and I'm devastated and exhausted mentally and emotionally. She's been crying all night long, and I cried too. We've been awake all night talking since she ended up admitting it, but she did only gradually, and she changed her version a few times. She has a tendency to try to make him look as good as possible and take responsibility off him, which to me points towards deep manipulation over many years, but at this point she doesn't see it like that. I really don't know where to start exactly. Yesterday, we had already announced to everybody that we were leaving around noon, and we did. Her mom, which is a lovely woman, kept insisting until the very last moment that we should stay at least a couple days more, but I lied and said my family needed me back home and we left. Curiously, her father didn't insist much, nor my GF either, which made me think that maybe she suspected I was uncomfortable since I saw them like that. I'd already booked a hotel, where we are now, to stop in the middle of the way and take a rest, and even if I had planned to not talk to her about it until we got home, as I was driving, I became increasingly tense about it all, to the point she noticed I was too serious and asked me what was wrong. I just told her I didn't sleep well again and that I needed to rest. While she was in the shower, I did something I know it's wrong, and I'm not justifying myself for doing it, but I was nervous and questioning myself, and felt like I was maybe going crazy. With that said, I know I shouldn't have checked her phone, especially after she trusted me with her PIN code. No trace of the canceled Teams meeting at all on her calendars or email. I then checked her messages with her father, and it's definitely not like a chat between lovers at all. Most was the usual miss you, happy birthday, a few funny pictures, but I also noticed there were a lot of deleted messages from him, and at weird hours, like maybe 3 a.m. or 2 a.m. There were also lots of deleted messages the day I saw them on the couch. The messages she deletes leave no trace, but his do, like Dad unsent this message. I kept scrolling until the last time she visited them last April, and I saw many deleted messages in different days, and then one that said garage at 0:30 a.m. or something, and her reply was, I'm sleepy, you'll have to be quick. That unsettled me out a lot. I scrolled until her visit on Christmas, and it was the same patterns. Lots of unsent messages, but also on 2 different days, one from him that only said come home, and one from her that said red tide, sorry. Remember, I'm translating from another language, but red tide is what she jokingly says to me when she's on her period. My hands were shaking at this point. 1, because I know I shouldn't be peeking on her phone and she could catch me, and 2, because of what I just read. Why would her father have to delete all those messages in a normal situation? And why text her that late? Why does she have to go to the communal garage that late? Or why does she have to apologize for having her period? I didn't, but I wanted to cry and to vomit. I felt like my stomach was turning out. So I went downstairs for coffee and settle a bit, but I couldn't hold it anymore, and when I go back, I talked to her about it. Someone more mature would probably have done it better, but I did as best as I could. And also, I'm not good at manipulating people, so I just talked to her in a pretty forward manner without much strategy, unlike many of you suggested. Possibly wrong on my part, perhaps I could have done it in a more progressive way so she didn't get so shocked, but as I said, I did what I could. I've never been through something similar, and I'm also suffering. I told her first of all that I love her a lot, and that I want to be with her and be by her side no matter what, but that for me, trust is absolutely essential and necessary. I know it makes me a hypocrite saying this after checking her phone. No trace of the canceled Teams meeting at all on her calendars or email. I then checked her messages with her father, and it's definitely not like a chat between lovers at all. Most was the usual miss you, happy birthday, a few funny pictures, but I also noticed there were a lot of deleted messages from him, and at weird hours, like maybe 3 a.m. or 2 a.m. There were also lots of deleted messages the day I saw them on the couch. The messages she deletes leave no trace, but his do, like Dad unsent this message. I kept scrolling until the last time she visited them last April, and I saw many deleted messages in different days, and then one that said garage at 0:30 a.m. or something, and her reply was, I'm sleepy, you'll have to be quick. That unsettled me out a lot. I scrolled until her visit on Christmas, and it was the same patterns. Lots of unsent messages, but also on 2 different days, one from him that only said come home, and one from her that said red tide, sorry. Remember, I'm translating from another language, but red tide is what she jokingly says to me when she's on her period. My hands were shaking at this point. 1, because I know I shouldn't be peeking on her phone and she could catch me, and 2, because of what I just read.
Her reaction at first was terrible, and first she laughed hysterically and said that I am sick, and how can I even suggest something like that? That it's disgusting, and that his father would never do that to her, and even less she allow it. Call me a pervert and a degenerate, and remarked many times that her father is a good man, and said that if I wanted to dump her, I should just leave her, and then started crying. I tried to comfort her and hug her as best as I could and felt terribly for being the cause of her stress, but what the fuck could I do? Then we started talking again, and now I tried to do it softly and with sweetness, so she started explaining to me how it maybe was wrong to straddle him like that, but that she was just shocked to see me because she expected no one to be around and nothing else, and swore again and again that of course there was nothing going on between them and that her father is a good guy and would never touch her that way, and she is an adult and would set limits in case he tried to. So at this point, seeing that she was more calmed, I admitted having checked her phone, and she freaked out, with a reason this time, which made me feel bad and apologized for doing it. She got up and checked the conversation herself this time, and after scrolling a bit, she said, and what? There's nothing to see here? You think I'm sexting my dad? What is wrong with you? I told her what I read in the most calming manner I could, and tried to stress as much as I could that I'm not a judge, and that I care about her and her safety, and that I need to be certain that everything is okay. This took an amount of time of her calling me a bad person and that kind of stuff for violating her intimacy. Then I asked her about all the deleted messages and about texts during the night, and why did she apologize about having her period and the garage thing in the middle of the night. She came out with the most diverse a range of excuses, that her dad doesn't know how to use the phone properly and deletes stuff randomly, that he has insomnia and texts during the nights, that the period thing was about her not wanting to go to a spa, and the garage thing was just that they needed to wrap up her mom's Christmas gift without her noticing, and how can I think something sexual about it? But that garage message wasn't during the Christmas visit, it was in April, so when I told her this, she froze for a second. I also brought in that there was nothing on her work calendar nor invitations for any meeting that day. I could sense I was cornering her, and her eyes were filling with tears again, so I tried to loose things up a bit and told her I'm not a judge nor an executioner, and that it was not about blaming her or him nor finding the culprit. She hesitated for a moment, but then her lips started shaking. She sighed and went to the bathroom. I could hear her cry from the other side of the door, and I just felt terrible. Devastated. For me, it was already confirmed, so now my goal was to try to comfort her enough to at least move on a little and talk about it without lies and know what is actually going on and how. Then she got out, sat on the bedroom, and said, in a kind of defiant way, I have done stuff with him sometimes, so what? I'm a grown woman, it's no one else's business, I'm hurting no one. And she started to cry again. At this point, I already knew it, but it felt like somehow was stabbing me, and I hung my head for a moment. I felt like I needed to cry, but I couldn't. Not very manly of me, I know, but I am absolutely overwhelmed by this whole situation. I left my house thinking about having a fun vacation with her and knowing her family, and now I live in a nightmare, so try to understand. We hugged for a while, and then we started talking again, and basically spent 8 hours straight talking, and made love also, and she almost cried for the whole 8 hours. And with this recounted, I really don't know where or how to start because this is very disgusting and obscene, and I haven't slept all night and have been a few days without sleeping properly. So the day I caught them, they just had sex a few minutes ago. That's why she had a shower, and she was sitting over him because when she was going to grab a comb in her bedroom, he called her and sat her over him to have sex again, presumably. She can't recall exactly if he grabbed her ass the first day, but says he probably did because he does that stuff when no one's watching, and sometimes he's too bold. So I wasn't crazy. Her family knows nothing about it, none of them. She says her brothers are very protective of her and would probably beat him up and never talk to her ever again, and that her mom would not be able to handle something like that and would divorce him and spit in her face and ostracize her. He blames herself much more than him, which is wild, and to me speaks volumes about the kind of manipulation she is subjected to. As I said earlier, through the night she changed aspect of her version of the story as time passed because she was starting to feel a little more comfortable to admit certain things. Today we're going to inevitably keep talking about it. I've been as comprehensive as I could, but at a certain point I told her that I'm only going to keep being her boyfriend if this ends. And with ending, I mean her family knowing about it and her never seeing him again. I'm not going to visit them at Christmas and sit by his side like nothing happens.
All right, so gather round close. This one's a bit spooky. It was last summer, just over that ridge, a group just like us, you know? They heard it first, a scraping sound, slow, real slow, from deep in the trees. And then the whispering started. Couldn't make out words, just sibilant-like. One of them, he pointed his flashlight out there, towards the sound. Nothing. Just blackness. But the whispering, it got louder, almost personal, you know? He swore he saw eyes, just for a second, reflecting the beam back, low to the ground, too low. They packed up fast, real fast, didn't even douse the fire properly, just ran. And the whole time, that scraping, that whispering, it seemed to be following them. So, if you hear anything tonight, maybe, just maybe, keep your flashlights off.